From shows like Love is Blind to the growing popularity of Bravo's Summer House, reality TV is never short of a little drama or a lot of drama, especially when it comes to romance.
Yeah, and earlier this summer, fans could not get enough of the hit series Love Island USA, like this guy. The show
Love
racked
is Blind.
up. Love is Blind. I'm sorry, I get them confused. That show racked up more than 2 billion minutes viewed in just the first 2 weeks. But as viewers, is this obsession with reality TV romance affecting the actual reality of our relationships? We brought in licensed clinical psychologist Michelle Chung to help us sort through it all. So, Michelle, first, I do want to talk about just why these shows are so attractive in the first place. There's so much drama. You know, what is it about that we love to tune into? And by we I mean Sam and his wife, Gabby.
I am there with you. And so I have to say, it's really, according to social learning theory, it is a flight simulator for our relationships. We get to test things out without crashing and burning. We see, okay, what is it like if I was just brutally honest with somebody and just gave them every single thought that came to my mind? Would I do something like that? Would I have done it differently? It's almost a playground for being able to try out different communication styles, relationship points.
So instead of actually playing out the scenarios yourself, you're just
Right.
watching other people either crash and burn or succeed doing that.
Absolutely.
Do you think that people watching at home, find this relatable, toxic in some cases, or maybe a little bit of both?
Well, absolutely. I think it is a little bit of both, right? I think there are things that we learn, valuable lessons that we learn.
Okay.
There are times where, we see them sitting around talking about their relationship. That's a great lesson to learn, right? Once in a while, we should do that with our partners. And then there's certain things that obviously are really toxic. So the emotional dumping, without really being able to understand each other, but it's just emotional vomit of our feelings, right? And then there's the brutal honesty, which is done without the thoughtfulness. And then there is listening without really trying to understand each other, but what they're really trying to do is to win an argument, to figure out how do I want to respond.
It's performative almost.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you're watching this, what's a healthy way to enjoy it without having it seep into your real life or so you're not picking up any of these toxic habits?
Yes. I always say watch the behaviors and the patterns, dump the drama. So what you really want to do is when you're having a conversation with somebody that's important to you, somebody that you want to actually connect with, learn through observation, right? Watch what they're doing, see okay, this is what I want to try out, this is what I don't want to try out. And you really want to be able to say, okay, this is something that I really want to listen to learn, to understand from one another, and not to argue to win the fight.
You said watch the patterns, and I'm wondering, are you seeing a commonality or a common relationship mistake that keeps playing out over and over again in some of these shows?
Yes, absolutely. So what we all see a lot of times is that I am going to be brutally honest here, and I want to be rewarded for that. And in some ways, there is so much damage that happens, right? There's a way that they're sharing their feelings, they're confusing that emotional dumping with being able to say, I'm being honest. This is my true...
It's not vulnerability per se.
Not at all. Not at all. It is, again, sort of performative. And on top of that, they are really looking to, again, win that argument.
I mean, you're saying don't look at these people as models for your own relationship in life, but sometimes it's fun to see how things happen. And in some cases, it is reality. It's produced. It's done for drama and clicks and views. So sometimes these folks aren't actually communicating the way they would in real life if they were in a real relationship that was organic.
Well, I hope not.
I will also say, as we've established, since you've already added me, Love is Blind. I love that show. I've been watching it for years, but I do feel like the earlier seasons, there was a sense it really was sort of an organic finding of the relationship, as much as you can do that across from a wall.
With a bunch of cameras,
you can't see someone, cameras everywhere. But it sort of changed. Is that a commonality, I guess, in a lot of these shows, too? It changes.
Well, there's a pureness to the first few seasons of any show, right? There's a way in which these participants, they really want to be there.
Michelle, I'm so sorry to cut you off. This was very informative and enlightening. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Sure.
You're watching Daily.
In today's mental health check, getting real about reality TV. From the success of shows like Love Island and Married at First Sight, it is no secret Americans love all of this unscripted drama. But can we actually learn something from it? When it comes to our own relationships, experts say there could be real takeaways from what we see on those screens. Joining me now, Michelle Chung. She is a licensed clinical psychologist. Michelle, always good to have you. So why do you think, first and foremost, we are so drawn to these reality programs? Like, why do we see ourselves in these relationships?
I think it's quite like the train wreck or the car wreck that you can't keep your eyes off of, right? It's life, but dramatized, and it's brought to a performative level, a place where it is just, you can't keep your eyes away. But really from there, there's so many ways that you can learn from them. This is a social experiment. Right? These are things that that you see in real life, in your maybe even parts of your own relationships, but you can actually see other people doing it, and you get to see what happens if I say it this way. What happens if I share that much?
Yeah, no, I remember back in the day when MTV had like The Real World, right?
Yes.
That was like my first introduction into reality TV. What are some of the most common relationship mistakes that you see people making on reality TV over and over? I mean, it's great like eye candy, great fodder, but it's maybe not something you want to carry into real life.
Yes. And so the biggest thing that I see is when people get so into their emotional experience and they really want to share, they want to be authentic, they want to put it all out there. But what happens is that they end up emotionally dumping.
Okay, what does that mean?
Emotionally dumping is when you're not really having a purpose to what you're sharing. It's just putting it all out there, but then there's no way in which you want to be listened to. You don't want feedback. You're just dumping it all out.
Okay, it's not productive. What about this communicating without honesty?
Communicating without honesty is when you see people who have a different agenda. And in these reality shows, you see that often, right? They're either trying to win, or maybe they're trying to date more than one person at the same time. And that dishonesty just really poisons the whole entire experience and the relationships.
So when we're watching and, we're engaging, how do we make sure that it's a healthy kind of watch and that you're not bringing any of those toxic habits back into your own relationship with your real partner in life?
One of the biggest ways is to be a good listener. And that means when you listen or when you argue, you do it to try and understand the other person. You're not doing it because you want to win the argument. You're not doing it because you want to have a good response in that moment. You're doing it because there is a greater purpose to this. We want to be able to bring this thing to bring you closer, right, in your relationship together. So be a listener that actually wants to understand. I think the other thing that you can do is have certain conversations with one another. Maybe once a week, sit there with your partner and say, hey, what's working for you? In what ways do you want me to change? And make it actionable. How do you want me to support you this week?
Yeah, I love that. And don't compare and despair with what you're seeing on TV or on social media, because sometimes that reality isn't so real.
Definitely not real, and it's not fun either all the time.
Michelle Chung, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you. Much more news straight ahead. Keep it right here. You're watching NBC News Daily.